Welcome to the Dog Trainers Podcast,
a podcast created by dog trainers for dog trainers or anyone who's ever fallen in love with man's best friend.
Hey everybody, welcome back and thank you so much for listening to the Dog Trainers Podcast. Mariano Alvarez here and Brent LaBrada. We wanted to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday Season, and wrap up what an amazing year it's been. And with that, over to you, man.
Yeah, man. It's so funny. Mariano called me and he said, you know what? We got to do an episode for the end of the year. And right away, we were both on the same page. We were like, let's have like a update on the DTP and let's have like a gratitude episode. So here we are, guys. We're going to give you an update on kind of what the last year has been and what 2025 holds for us. And as well as just thank you guys. Like, thank you guys so much for listening. And, you know, this is, I mean, I would go and say this is the slowest podcast year we've had, right? How long has it been? Like 4 years now? 4 years we've been doing this?
Yeah, about 4 years.
About 4 years. So this year was a pretty busy year personally in our personal lives. Mariano just got married within the last 12 months, businesses and things like that. So we're going to update you guys on all of that. But yeah, we just want to start by saying thank you so much to our listeners and thank you guys so much for reaching out to us. And like, it's so funny because even though we didn't put out a lot of episodes this year, we'd still get DMs of just like, hey, just checked out this episode. And it was really, really helpful. And yeah, just the interaction from you guys, like even though we weren't active, you guys were active and we really, really appreciate it. And it's actually huge inspiration for what we got going on in 2025. So
yeah, it's been awesome, dude. I think the first thing that I remember from this year, because my memory sucks, is me and McKenna actually took our honeymoon right at the beginning of the year.
Oh, right. Where'd you guys go?
We went to Dublin, Ireland, and it was freaking beautiful. Like I mentioned to you before, off podcast, I'm sure, but it's one of those places I had never been to before, but I just knew I was going to love it. I wanted to move there at one point. I just kind of knew I'd like it, and we went, and I absolutely was not disappointed. I still kind of want to move there, dude, but you know, that's
what
not
do you
going to
love?
happen.
What do you love about it?
You know, so a few things. So it was very different. Like, I'll put it this way. It was different in all the right ways, and it was similar in all the right ways. And it might be hard for people to understand because it was really similar to Mexico, not necessarily to the U.S. And so it made me feel
Mexican food.
You know, you'd be surprised, dude. Like, everybody I tell, you know, the food in Ireland was so good. Everybody says the same thing. Like, I don't think Irish people are really known for their, like, good food. But what we found there was, you know, being right there to the different parts of Europe, the Italian food was amazing. And, you know, the different types of cuisine there were like the Spanish food, the French food. It was all so good and it made total sense. I mean, you're so much closer than you are here. And we have really good like Italian restaurants and stuff here. So it was all good like that. But just the quality of food, like even when we went to the markets and stuff, we were trying to save by like making meals and only going out for nice dinners. Even just the quality of the groceries and stuff like that, you could just taste freshness. And I don't know, man, it was super cool. But all the stuff that was different was just how old the country is. Like America's like 250 years old. Freaking Ireland, we were seeing castles that were like 1,000 years old and stuff like that. And super cool, super green, super beautiful. Yeah, man, I loved it. But anyway, that was the first thing that I remember doing this year. And when we got back, man, it was just right back to work.
Yeah, it was. So let's start from the top. What was the first thing we did this year? We were approached by Dr. Stuart Hilliard to start shooting and producing a Kynology series for him, right? So he's partnered up with Michael Ellis and Forrest Mickey, and they've done a couple Kynology events, but we are actually commissioned to help shoot online content for Dr. Hilliard. And so one of the ideas that we said, hey, how about we invite as many of our close friends as possible in the dog training game? So we reached out to a bunch of folks who couldn't make it, but the lineup was ridiculous of the people who showed up. So, you know, we had Mariano on the DTP. There you go. Oh yeah, your braces came off this year too. We forgot to add that. My braces came off this year also. Dang, that's quick. Super quick. Anyways, so on the lineup, let's see, we had Darshan Haran, who we had an episode with earlier this year. We had Joey Sanante, who was there. We had Melanie Uday, who we also did an episode with. We had Kevin Sheldall, yep, who's an OG in the leash dog world. We had Michael Ellis there. We had Forrest Mickey there. We had Vinny Soma was there. We had Brett Bailey from New York. Brett Bailey with Who's a Good Boy Industries. Who else are we missing? We had a lot of folks there, a lot of just great local trainers. We had our buddy John Gatto was there.
I believe Siobhan Hughes was there.
Siobhan Hughes. Yep.
Yeah, it was like a star stud. It's hard to even remember. It sounds so weird to like forget people like that, but it was such a packed house. I mean, how many people went again? It was like 40 or 60 or something big.
Like 30, about 35.
Okay.
Yeah, 30,
yeah.
35,
Like
yeah.
it was something. It was a big number, and it was a lot of fun, and it was really cool because it was the first. It was the first crack, I think, at DTP like hosting an event like that. We had done Art of Teaching last year, but to host an event that's a production that's primarily meant for video. And Brent really took the lead on that because Brent's got the knowledge and all that thing. And we had our typical camera guys, John and Josh, and it was just super cool, man. Brent hooked us up with this really cool facility near his house. We rented out this room that was like 12,000 square feet, and it was well lit, and it had like a projector already.
1,200 square feet.
Did I say 12,000?
Yeah.
12 billion square, something like that.
12 cajillion square feet.
147,000 square
People
feet.
Were like,
something tiny.
12,000 square feet. That's that's almost as big as my facility.
Yeah, I'm all discombobulated, dude. 1,200 square feet, really cool facility. Brent hooked it up. It was a lot of fun, and it was right near the house, and that meant we could kind of go and hang out. I stayed there overnight, and so did a lot of other people, and it was cool, dude. What was your favorite part, do you think?
Man, it was really fun. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, we'd start learning about dogs from Doc, and we'd sit and lecture. We'd break for lunch. And then I always love after the shoot, after the production, when everyone gets to hang out and chill and drink and talk dogs. And that's actually when the dog training happens. That's when everyone's, all their working breeds are in their truck and they take their dogs out. And now we got people up on our field doing bite work and just tiring their dogs out or throwing the dogs in the swimming pool and stuff like that. Like just that's the fun part, is to see how a lot of these people who live and breathe dog training, how they just interact with their dogs, and also just being able to talk so casually about the stuff that they're good at, and then funny enough, also not talking about dogs at all was really cool. Like to get drunk with a bunch of people we admire and not even talk about dogs, just talk about life, talk about experiences, talk about trips, talk about marriage, talk about relationships, talk about everything other than dogs. It just really makes you feel connected to the community and to the people who you put them on a pedestal because of how much you've learned from them, how much respect you have for them. But at the end of the day, it's like everyone's a human, and it's a wholesome human connection that we would have at the end of those shoots, for sure.
Yeah, dude, totally. And I think that I can't tell which of these is my favorite. Actually, I can, but I can't tell which of these was more like impactful. My favorite part of it was the more personal part. Like we met Vinny's, she was his fiance, now she's his wife.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get a more homey feel out of it, which I just like that. It's great to talk dogs and it's cool to do all that, but it's also nice to just kind of know more of the person behind the intellect and all that, and that's super cool. But probably one of the more impactful parts for DTP is we got a lot of feet and a lot of doors, I feel like, because of that. Like, was that where you and Vinny had talked about doing some stuff later in the year? I don't know.
Yeah. That's actually where me and Vinny Soma had talked about, hey, dude, let's do a seminar together. And I was like, all right, you tell me when. And then we ended up doing one in April. That's where I met a guy who's a really good friend of mine now. We literally hang out every couple days, Joey Sanante, who we'll have him on the podcast next year. One of our first episodes. He's an amazing dog trainer, highly respected by the trainers that we respect. Super, super cool guy. Love him, love his family, and super happy that I met him there. Yeah, man, a lot of cool connects, and that was just the beginning of the year. That was in January. So let's move on. Like, what else did we do this year?
Well, dude, tell me about that seminar. I'm embarrassed to say, because I forget what I was doing when you guys were doing it, but I was like all tied up in something, and you were telling me all about it. But tell us about the seminar with Vinny.
Yeah, so the seminar with Vinny was really fun. Yeah, we just, Vinny has a huge following, so he can literally walk into any city and get at least 20, 30 people signed up for something, which is wonderful. But him and I were able to collab. The cool thing is I got to spend a week with Vinny over in Pittsburgh, and we had sat down and just kind of brainstormed ideas of what we wanted to talk about and what we wanted it all to be. And him and I were really good at just riffing and like they talk about jamming with other dog trainers, right? Like Michael Ellis likes to talk about like jamming. And it really felt like a good jam session. Me and Vinny have very similar ideas and approaches and different ways of explaining things, and it's just really cool to have someone that I can collab with on stage or in front of a group of people and just do those things and answer questions. So yeah, it was lots of fun. Met some really cool people there. Yeah, super fun. Hope that we can do it again.
What'd you guys talk about?
A lot of it was pet dog training. We had a handful of dog professionals there, like some people that own daycare, some people that are dog walkers that want to become dog trainers. Some of them were dog trainers. And I think a lot of it is my expertise is always like teaching people how to teach people. I think that's always the part that matters for me. Vinny's really, really good at simplifying things and making things really direct and clear. And he's a great educator in his own right too. But like I would talk a lot about how to explain it to people and how to get people to do stuff that might be hard, right? So, some of the more like the newer dog trainers, they kind of get stuck in their own way on explaining things and not thinking outside the box. So we had a lot of cool ways of describing stuff that, as soon as we'd give examples or explanations, we saw the notebooks come out and people were just jotting, how we would say stuff or how we'd explain a concept that seems pretty controversial or something that could make a client feel uncomfortable, how we would word it to make it more digestible. And also just learning how to manage people and their expectations. I think that was really, really important. So yeah, we talked about a bunch of stuff, Yeah,
that's sick, dude. And one of my favorite things that stood out to me from this year, like regarding you and Vinny, was how Vinny loves the way, and so do I, I'm sure so does everybody, but Vinny loves the way that you explain and teach things so much that he would be driving somewhere with one of his employees in his car.
Yeah.
And just randomly call you while you're driving somewhere and be like, Brent, teach this guy something.
Yeah, teach this guy something. Well, yeah, not to bag on Vinny, but Vinny likes how I teach so much that he uses it a lot. So he...
No, dude, that's not a bad... Like, the way I look at it, honestly, is the two of you are kind of the best of both worlds because Brent, these guys know because they listen to us, but Brent, you have this ability to explain things and break things down in a way that just makes sense. Like, you're a really solid teacher. And Vinny, not that he's not, but he's just like the most approachable, friendly guy. So it was a warm environment and kind of like a high-level intellectual environment. Yeah. I bet it was fun, dude. The next time you guys do it, I'd love to go. I want to go see it.
It's a fun vibe, and even though I crack on Vinny for he will rightfully be like, oh yeah, I learned this from Brent LaBrada. And mind you, it's stuff that I learned from everyone else, but I might have whittled it down and said it in a different way that just made it sound different, right? But the funny part is it's always 10 times funnier when Vinny says it. Whatever the pun or the joke or the point is, it's like whatever, however Vinny interprets it and says it to an audience, it's always going to be 10 times funnier. So that's the best part about working.
Because Vinny's like a dirty birdie dude. He's super funny with the shit that comes out of his mouth.
He is. Yep. Yep. Definitely. But yeah, it was a good one. We were on a Instagram live just yesterday, and
cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, him and I were just randomly. He was on an Instagram live, and he reached out to me to see if I was free. So I jumped on for about 20 minutes, and a couple people were asking us to do a seminar in St. Louis, and someone in Canada wants us to do something in Canada. So maybe it might turn into a thing. Maybe it might not. Who knows?
Dude, you should. Why not?
Yeah, that'd be fun. That would be.
Now, after that, something that's really cool. It's Brent's milestone, so I'll let him tell it. But it's super cool because there's kind of a circularity to it, not only for Brent, but for how we met and all that good stuff. So what happened after the seminar, dude?
Yeah, man. So for years, I've been looking for buildings, and I've been looking to turn my, from my home business. I had 8-9 employees. I was in a home and was renting a home and, running a pretty top-notch service and business out of a home. Like, a lot of people would always be blown away at like, hold on, this looks like a house, but it's ran so smooth and it's so clean and it's so professional in this house. It's, we were running a great operation in there. And so, but there was always a certain level of like, I want to get a brick and mortar. I want to have a business where, I can serve people, on daily services. I want to have a storefront where people can walk in. I want to have more of an operation where people go somewhere and we can run classes, doesn't matter the weather outside. So I always wanted to have a facility in a way, right? And originally my goal was to have a facility that's like, maybe 1,000, 5,000 square feet, because my goal was mostly to do like a day training service and private sessions and group classes and kind of create like an educational center for dogs, right? That was the goal, right? So a smaller operation. Well, the funny part is, as I was looking for buildings, they're either asking for too much because the economy is weird, or the leases were, they weren't giving me longer than a 3-year lease, because in the area that I was looking, there's a huge construction plan that's happening in the area of LA that I live. It's called Woodland Hills, and pretty much no one's going to give you a longer than 3-year lease, because in about 3 years, the city is changing all the zoning and all the area to get ready for a lot of tech coming into Woodland Hills. So like X is coming, right? YouTube is coming, Google is coming to Woodland Hills. And so what they're doing is they're not signing leases for extended periods of time, because in 3 years, they're going to probably sell those lots and make apartment buildings for the new people moving to the town. So it was just really hard to find a building. And then there was this, and then I kind of got word on Facebook that the company I worked for when I was 18 years old, the one that started my dog training career, was called Canines Only. And Canines Only, there was 2 facilities. I worked for them for 10 years, and as an 18, they ended up, my mentor ended up selling the facility to a big corporation, a big veterinary corporation. And so I left that company. I started Canis, my own brand, and just been building that out for the last 5-6 years. And I got wind that Canines Only, the original location where I started, that they were going out of business, that they were closing the doors. And when I found that out, I reached out to the contacts that I had at that building, and they said they're not going to renew their lease, and the company was going under, and yada, yada, yada. So long story short, guys, I took this as an opportunity to swoop in, and I took over the building where I actually first learned how to be a dog trainer in, right? And I talked to the landlord, and pretty much, the building where I had my first dog training interview, it's a 13,000 square foot kennel with a daycare area, training area, boarding area, a full kitchen, all that, storage closets, all this stuff. I took it over and I signed a lease, and I signed a 5 to 10 year lease, and I took on this big operation, and a lot of it is really sentimental, right? Like, it's a full circle moment where the building that I first learned how to become a dog trainer in, 16 years later, I came back and I took over that building, right? So crazy enough, I have 13,000 square feet of real estate I had to fill up and come figure out how to make money. And I went from a team of 9 people to now we're at a team of 24, almost 25 people. So, doubled, almost tripled my my overhead and my team. But you know what? It's super cool because It's a little bit bigger than I was anticipating, but there was something about taking over this building that I thought was just very poetic and very, very cool. So that's what we've been doing. I started that in June, and the great thing is every month we're making more and more money, so we're doing something right. And this holiday season, we're fully booked for training, fully booked for boarding, and we're super stoked to see what 2025 is going to hold. So anyways, that's the story about my new facility in LA.
Sick, dude. And for anybody in the area or anybody like passing by, the facility is also gorgeous. I've been there before a few times. I didn't work there. Brent and I used to work together, but by the time I had gotten to this company, they had 2 locations and I was at the other one. But this facility was always their like first and kind of primary, right? It was big, it was gorgeous. And if you guys ever have a chance to stop by, hit up Brent and check it out, dude.
Yeah, come on by. It's 18603 Topham Street in Tarzana, California. You guys just stop by, come get a tour. Just be like, hey, I heard about it on the podcast. Just want to come check out this place. Yeah, and even if you're another dog trainer in the area, I'm friends with so many dog trainers in my area, people with other businesses and other companies. Come on by. I'd love to show you guys around and show you what we're about, show you how we operate. Just come on by. Just say you know me, Brent, and I'll give you a tour myself.
Put me on the VIP list, please.
Put you on the VIP list. Yeah.
That's sick, dude. That's cool. That's super cool, actually.
Thanks, man.
So that happened. Roughly, when was this again?
That was in May. I got the word that they were going out of business, and then I signed the lease in June.
So that's like halfway through the year.
April, I found out that they were going out of business, signed the lease in May, moved in June.
Nice. That's kind of right around like summertime. For me, around summertime, man, let me see here. We were just kind of in full swing here. Summer's a busy time, and in Phoenix, stuff's tougher because it's so hot. So like we're just having to work indoors all the time, working the AC. But the next big milestone, I guess, for DTP had to have been the Kynology.
Let's not talk about milestones. It was your first year as a married man, my friend.
Yeah.
How was that? Your first year as a married man. Is there going to be a second year as a married man?
Well, not to give away too much, but we're probably planning on some kiddos here pretty soon. So,
whoa!
But
I guess so. Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, so it's good, man. It's actually really good. Everybody's joke is like, oh, the old ball and chain or whatever, or like, oh, I was married life, and there's kind of this like, I know it's a joke and all that, but it's actually really good. And it's funny because I was always of the assumption, McKenna and I had been together for years, so I was always of the assumption that like, I mean, nothing's going to be different, like on paper we're married, but nothing's going to be different. But a lot's different, and I mean that only in the best ways. It's really cool. It's actually kind of hard to explain, and it's just been really great. Yeah.
Well, all right. That's all you want to say, then, I guess.
I mean, what do you want? Like,
must be amazing, I guess.
Yeah. What makes it different is when you're, at least to me, like when you're married. Number one, for me, it's been a big transformative thing for me, just personally, because you start to think in different terms. You're not just kind of a guy anymore. Even a guy with a fiance, you're like, I'm a husband now. I'm going to be a father. I'm going to be this, or, God willing anyway, I'm going to be this. I'm going to be this. So I really started thinking in terms of what do I need to become? What skills, what attributes, whatever do I need to start collecting like right now so that I can be a person worthy of X? You know what I'm saying? So it's been a really busy year. Like, I want to say difficult, but difficult sounds like negative. Difficult in the sense that growing, right? Yeah. And it's kind of tiresome, and it's kind of this and it's kind of that, but it's also good, and it's also fun, and it's also like, all these things. So that's been kind of my journey. And McKenna has been finishing school. She just got her doctorate in physical therapy. It's like a 7-year program. So McKenna's been a student since I met her, years ago in LA. And she's finally done with that. It's been a super challenge because as I'm sure you guys can imagine, like the final year of a doctorate program is no joke, and the stress and the tests and the money and the this and the that. But that's all done now. So I'm super looking forward to 2025 being kind of our first like real year of the rest of our lives type thing, when she's also working and we kind of have an idea of financially what life's going to look like, and, and all that kind of thing. So good stuff.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. Yeah. I think this year I was in my first relationship that I actually thought we would get engaged, and then it didn't happen. It lasted like 7-8 months, and then it was great. We had a great girlfriend, really sweet. We were both grown up. We were both ready. And it was one of those, it's interesting how quickly it comes and then it goes. But yeah, very grateful for that relationship. I learned a lot. I grew a lot. There was a lot of things that I learned about myself. But yeah, back on the single wagon now, just back at it again.
I was poking at Brent before we started. That was like, it's like popular enough and rich enough now that it's not Tinder anymore. What's that app for
that Raya? That Raya.
Raya. Brent's gonna be living that Raya life.
Go out on a date with Jennifer Lawrence.
Dude,
no,
you should.
Right.
You belong in those circles. I don't think I make enough
money to be on that app. No way. I don't think I'm pretty enough to be on that app.
I don't know, dude. You're a catch, I think Brent's cool because living in LA and having the status that Brent had, like, it's cool to be like, Brent will text me randomly, but like, hey, this person came to the kennel today, and that person came to the kennel today, and I'm like, oh shit.
But just because it's LA, cool. Though, it's not. I mean, part of like, yes, my company has great reviews and we have a good reputation, but it's also just do a decent job and be in LA, and you'll run into celebrities and people all the time.
Yeah, Brent's being humble. He had people fly him to Hawaii to train their puppy.
But again, luck. It's like luck, right place, right reputation. But here's the thing: is rooted all in hard work, right? And it's location. So because I'm in LA, one out of, actually not even one, I would say like 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5 people are in the industry in LA, if not 3 out of 5, right? So whether they're producers or actors or directors or editors or cameramen, like the degrees of separation to people who you might recognize it's really small. It's really, really small, but...
Well, nonetheless, that's sick, dude. So we can expect to see you on Raya, is what you're saying.
Shut up. I don't know. What does it take to get on Raya? I don't know.
You'd qualify, dude. You should see some of the people. You'd more than qualify.
No, I'd have... No way. I got to get a gym membership and get all buff and shit. then I'll go on there. I
But
need
see,
to
now you
hire
have
like
to do it just for the show. If nothing else, it's
hire
good
a
content.
photographer, take my blue steel pictures.
All right.
Yeah, it'd be sick. That'd be sick.
Yeah, man.
Go on a date with Rihanna. And no, isn't she pregnant with kids? Never mind.
I don't know.
Is
I
she
know
married?
she's a billionaire now.
Is she married? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways,
I don't know. I'm super bad at all that.
all I'm trying to say is I learned a lot in my personal life. So
That's sick, dude. Well, good.
thanks, man.
Yeah, good, man. Me too. Shit. Not all the lessons are fun, but yeah,
Freaking
like,
life is hard.
I know, dude.
Life is hard in a good way. Yeah.
But the Kynology event, I'm so like brain dead. This was in October, I want to say, right? And oh, duh, it was like right after both our birthdays.
Yeah, it was.
I remember now. You're right. Yeah, it's been a long. Yeah, the Kynology event. So by that we mean not the shoot that we did in LA. The Kynology event took place in Santa Rosa at Michael Ellis's school. And this was something that Brent and I had attended one other time. So this was their third, like Kynology 3.
The third
and
rendition.
Brent and I went to Kynology 1, where we actually met Dr. Stuart Hilliard. And he was introduced to us by Forrest Mickey and Michael Ellison. Kynology 3 was a ton of fun. It was a 5-day event, just like the first one was. I know we did an interview with Doc, so we don't, But the fun part about it is just seeing everyone, meeting everyone, being challenged to try to like intake the information and all that kind of stuff. And just for those of you who haven't gone to MES, to Michael's school, the vibe of it, the feel of it, just how sweet and open these people are, you guys owe it to yourselves to go. Either for one of these events, because I know they're throwing more next year. I think they're planning one in April, but as plans solidify, we'll talk more about it. But if not, even just courses, Cameron Ford is there now, and Dr. Uda just moved like right into their neck of the woods now. If you guys haven't been to Michael Ellis' school in Santa Rosa, you should absolutely go. It's such a blast. Michael's so great, of course. His wife Carol's super great. You guys should totally take time to get out there. What was your favorite part?
Man, my favorite part is like I love seeing how good minds come together, and my favorite part is how much better the third rendition was of the first rendition, and like to see the improvements and the sophistication and the like they're just making that event better and better and better every time that they do it. And it's so cool to see it, and it's so cool to have seen it from the beginning and see it grow, and in a way kind of be part of it, with some of the gigs and stuff that we've had involving it. So it feels cool to be in the vicinity of that and to be able to witness it from a front row seat. Yeah. I love how much people love it and how much people learn from it. I think I get really excited when people do a really good job at transferring information, right? Like they entertain you. You feel like you leave that thing with so much value given to you. Those are my favorite parts, to be honest.
Yeah, you make a good point, actually. There seems to be this, maybe not shift, but there seems to be this uptick in dog training of people understanding why it's important to convey a message really well. I feel like if I look back on the last, 10 years of dog training, the beginning of those 10 years ago was everybody kind of figuring out the later stuff, like, oh, it's play and it's scent work and it's, and it's this and that. It's not like e-collar pressure stuff and it's not dominant stuff. And there was a kind of an evolution in dog training technique. And then after that came the force-free push and all that kind of stuff. So like the politics of dog training got all crazy. And then after that, dog trainers started looking at each other and going like, why are we arguing again? I forget. And maybe we should start not only working together once again, but also for all the knowledge you have and all the information I have, why do we struggle to get it out? Like why is it so hard to put what's in my head in your head? And people have started practicing explaining things, hence art of teaching and hence conveying the message and hence all these different ideas, right? And stuff that we have coming up early next year too, right? Not to drop too much of a hint with a special guest. But that was probably my favorite part was, yeah, everybody coming together. Yeah, the feel, yeah, the vibe, all that. But like, there's a huge emphasis in dog training these days of getting good at storytelling, getting good at explaining. And I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's kind of like, what's that word? It's called like edutainment. It's like education and entertainment at the same time. Edutainment. Yeah, it's really great. And I think the guys do a great job at Kynology events getting that, especially Doc. Like Dr. Hilliard is hilarious and intelligent and well-worded. And, there's so many great things about that. So if you guys get a chance, as Mariano was saying, go to the next Kynology event if you guys can. I'm sure there's one in 2025 coming up. So, and you can buy it online too. If you guys can't go in person, you guys could totally buy it online.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of online stuff, okay, one of the last things I want to talk about from this year is my boy, Mariano Alvarez, was asked to be the master of ceremonies at the Canine conference, which was one of the first online exclusively online canine conferences that had, how many people total were there?
I want to say like 200, like the maximum.
Well, like speakers, I mean.
Dude, it was a ton. It must have been like 40, 30, 40. There was a lot.
40 different like dog specialists and training specialists on this conference. And I want you to tell us kind of how it happened, but I'm super proud of my boy. He handled it. He is one of the best hosts and he has the best voice for it and the best approach for it, and he's so prepared all the freaking time, and he's just so good at presenting stuff. He was made for this role. So super happy for you, man. But tell us a little bit. How did it come to be?
Yeah, thank you, man. How did it come to be? Jonas reached out to me and asked me if I would host it, and I was like, sure. And it wasn't. It's funny because this was the first of its kind, and like typically with stuff like this, like first of its kind type stuff, and Brent knows this really well because we did a lot of firsts this year. There isn't always a great like plan, and I don't mean the plan wasn't good. I mean there really wasn't too much of a plan like at all.
A preparation.
Yeah, so because no one knows what to do. It's the first time, right? And we kind of we all figured there'd be some growing pains in XYZ. But it just so happened that, being asked to host was kind of right smack dab in my wheelhouse because I have this really strong passion. I have this really strong interest specifically in wanting to host and wanting to interview. Like I love this shit, I was telling my wife just yesterday, legit just last night that you know what? I feel like I'm a good dog trainer. I feel like I'm a pretty good dog trainer, honestly. But as far as hosting goes, I feel like that's a skill that I really want to pursue that not a lot of people have. And so, and I felt this way for a while. I've been kind of looking into different ways of doing it, reading books and blah, 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 right? But anyway, I get presented with this opportunity to do exactly that. And I'm like, yeah. And there's not a ton of pre-planning. And I'm like, that's fine with me because then I have to practice, because I super think this is a skill, practice building a plan when there isn't one, and practice kind of serving as the organizational rock that people can kind of lean on and huddle around. So it was cool, man. We had tons of speakers. We had huge names, Larry Crone, Jay Jack, Joel Silverman. Again, it's hard to even, Jonas obviously spoke. I did a little presentation on day 2. It was super cool and long days and all that, but man, it was a special thing, and I thank Jonas. And it was super cool for the same reason that Kynology was cool, because it's a ton of dog trainers getting together, talking high-level content. Oh, Vinny was there too, and talking a lot of good stuff, and just people getting along, and just people understanding that you have to do what's good for the industry, stop arguing, stop fighting, stop this, stop that, and establish that filter that we've talked about before. If you hear something that's useful to you, take it. And if you don't fight about it, just leave it alone, right? And it was a lot of fun because it was kind of a culmination of podcast prep, having to do people's Q&As, having to write intros and outros, and intros and outros for speakers, but also intros and outros for the days and for the entirety of the event. And I was nice and stressed out because the beginning of day 1, my first day on the job, my internet was having outages in the area. No. So it wasn't working. And people can buy it after. So if you see day 1, the first, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes, you'll see me freaking out. Jonas is being super cool about it because he was like, it's all good, dude. But I'm I'm the host and my internet's not working. I feel like such an idiot, but everything else went very smooth. And it was cool. I liked it a lot.
That's funny, man. Well, I hope you get to do next year or another conference or something like that, man, because I love seeing you host and I love seeing you do your thing.
Dude, I had an idea for a goal for us.
What's up?
We should try to host
Ooh,
why
that
not?
might be fun. Well,
and I'm dead serious. Why not?
I think we got to join IACP first.
Fine.
That's the problem.
So then the plan is simple. You join Raya, we join IACP, and then we host. No, seriously, why not, dude? I'm dead serious right now.
I'll be down.
DTP is really popular in the dog training world. That's made clear to us all throughout the year.
Yeah.
We do a great job. Why not?
Hey, man, I'm just the comedic relief. That's all I do. You're the talent here.
No, dude, I think a speaker spot for you and a hosting job for me, and I'd be chill. That'd be no, I'm serious. We should really I'm so serious about that.
All
we
right,
should
who do we talk to? Who do we talk to?
We have a couple contacts. I'll
yeah. All right, let's make it happen. Maybe that's on for 2025. That'd be fun. All right, thanks. Our special guest this year. Thank you. All right, cool. Real quick, can we take a quick little commercial break? Real fast.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. Again, this is Mariano and Brent with the Dog Trainers Podcast. And we wanted to pick things right back up by saying, as we look back on the year and all these really cool things that we had accomplished this year, we also just have to give thanks to our really good friends and guests of the podcast, because all of these cool things stemmed from the Dog Trainers Podcast. We started this like 4 years ago, and it was right around COVID time. It was just a really simple way for Brent and I to stay in touch more and do stuff together and just try to build a platform, try to build a way to educate, inspire, and collaborate. And not only has it been working, but it's opened all these doors for us, and we're super grateful. So I just want to say thank you to some of the people who had been on with us this last year. We're talking Darshan Haran, we're talking Dr. Melanie Uda, we're talking Robin McFarlane, we're talking Dr. Stuart Hilliard, Julius Baczynski, who became a really good friend of mine really quickly, and of course his wife, Stephanie Baczynski. If you guys have a chance, check out Method Canine, because they've been killing it. They're starting an online university here pretty soon, and it's been an absolute blast. Of course, Vinny, Jonah, like all the people who have been giving us these opportunities to branch out and do different things. We love you guys, man. We appreciate you guys. We love you, and thank you, our listeners. You guys have all made this stuff possible for us, and we just appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%. I just double everything he said. It's weird because we don't, even though it was slow this year for episodes, we still felt the love from you guys. And it's like every time we get reminded that like someone reaches out to us saying thank you for this episode that we did 2 years ago, it just really fires us up to want to make more episodes for you guys. So let's kind of talk a little bit about what 2025 might have in store, right? So one of the things me and Mariano have been talking about is we've been talking about kind of dividing our energy a little bit, right? I think sometimes it's hard between my busy schedule and Mariano's busy schedule for us to like coordinate times to do episodes all the time. So there's so many times also I have an idea or he has an idea, and sometimes we literally spend a whole day arguing that I don't want to do that idea, you do that idea, right? But we both think that we can approach those ideas in ways that are going to be super valuable for you guys. So one of the things that we plan for 2025, our goal is to double the amount of episodes we did in 2023. I'll tell you that. So and doubling this year is not going to be hard, but doubling 2023's episodes is going to be important. But this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to have my own ideas, and I'm going to come up with episodes and guests and interviews for myself, and so is Mariano. And then we're also going to have group interviews still, but we want to be, there's so many little problems that are ideas that pop in our head, whether we're driving or you're in the shower or you're on the toilet or whatever it might be. And they're great ideas. And we're going to flesh them out individually and create more episodes for you guys. Now, if you guys have ideas, shoot them our way. Some of you guys have actually emailed us at dogtrainerspodcast@gmail.com. We've seen those emails. We love those ideas. We've actually drafted out ways for us to invite special guests so we can do those ideas justice. But feel free to reach out to us, guys, whether it's on Instagram or it's on email, and shoot us some ideas that you have or some questions that you have, and we will do our best to coordinate with our circle of friends the best way to answer those questions.
You heard it from the man himself, dude. I'm excited. It's going to be a really cool year. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling, even though we didn't do a ton of episodes for season 3, I'm kind of feeling maybe we close that out and start season 4, since there's going to be so many different things.
Like it.
And if we do, I don't want to give away too much, but there's going to be some really cool changes that I think will make things a lot of fun. I'll leave it at that for now, but maybe 2025 comes with season 4 of DTP. Beyond that, everything Brent said, dude, we're super excited. Don't worry, mommy and daddy are staying together. It's just cool when we it's just cool when we can. The thing is, Brent's so good at explaining things. It's hard to like flesh out an episode together sometimes because it's all done, and I'm just like, yeah. So I try to like add fun stuff and like good intros and outros. So, but of course, that being said, some of our most popular episodes are Brent and I riffing on something. So, of course, there's just times when we have to do this stuff together, and just we're friends and just want to talk about stuff. But Brent's totally right. If there's something that's just better served, like you're better served to the audience with like Brent and Vinny or someone and someone or whatever, then do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be cool because that means more episodes. That means just better fitting, outlines and criteria. And in my mind, at least, it makes it a little more special when Brent and I get together, sit down and do an episode. And one big thing I'd love to try to plan, because again, McKenna's going to be working, dude, it's going to be a little easier, is some more in-person stuff.
Mm-hmm. That'd be nice.
You and I hanging out and just doing some stuff together,
That'd be fun. That'd be real fun. And you know what we got to try? We actually got to try recording some of our phone calls because, guys, legit, some of our phone calls are really dope episodes of the podcast because we have ideas or things that happened and we're talking about it at work, or things that happened at work, or things that happened with people or clients or whatever it is. And some of those things are freaking great content for you guys. So we're super stoked about that. Also, something that I might be doing just for my company and my brand, I'm actually going to be developing a Canis podcast that specifically kind of revolves around client problems. So I'm going to be interviewing clients. I'm going to be bring some of our guests from the DTP on, and we're going to be talking specifically about pet dog training and the issues that people run into all the time, but it's from the client's perspective. So if you guys can listen to this podcast, look out in 2025 for the Canis podcast and check that out. And it's going to be hard for me to juggle 2 podcasts, but I think we can do it.
Yeah, dude, it's exciting. A lot going on this coming year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then let's see. What else is going on this year? Ooh, we have a really cool series that we're planning to do with one of our very first guests we ever had on our podcast. His name's Tyler Muto. You guys might have known him. He was the youngest president of the IACP. He also has a great YouTube following. You might have heard of his platform called Consider the Dog. We actually have a 3-part episode series that's going to be releasing in 2025 that talks about leadership as a dog trainer, leading our team, leading our staff, and leading our clients. And it's really, really cool that he's signed on board for that. So check out 2025. Hopefully by the end of January, we have that one done. But in early 2025, we'll have those three episodes out.
Yeah, and I'd like to gauge people's interest on something. How are you guys feeling about DTP merch these days? Let us know in the comments or shoot us a message or an email or something. But we get lots of comments on them. And this logo, like the updated logo, we had designed. I want to say Brent had it designed, and it looks really good, and it came out really nice.
You had that designed.
Okay, well, what did you? Oh, you made them. You had them printed onto the hoodies and stuff, and the hoodies are sick. And the shirts actually, you did that too. So the idea then is between both of us, people give lots of compliments. I mean, they are good looking shirts and hoodies. I'm just saying. But if you guys were interested in some merch, stickers, whatever, let us know, because we've been interested in that. Like, we like when people like the shirts, and we kind of feel bad if we don't have enough to like give out.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you guys know how it is. Like, it's hard to print them if no one's going to want, so let us know if that's something you're interested in, and maybe that'll be another expansion to the Dog Trainers podcast for 2025. But shoot us a message or a comment or something and let us know what you think.
I dig it. I dig it, man. Well, yeah, I guess overall, in closing, I just want to thank you guys again for just being great listeners and being loyal and being interactive and reaching out to us, because this is our conversation with you guys. Like, we don't get to have like a in real time conversation, but we get to tell you our thoughts. We get to hear your guys' thoughts back. It is such a wholesome human connection that honestly, it's super gratifying for us every time we get to hear from you guys. So we want to wish everybody a happy holiday, whatever you celebrate, whether Hanukkah or Christmas or nothing, or if you just celebrate being cold, that's cool too. We love you guys, and we wish you guys just a happy end to the year. And we wish you guys a really, really positive 2025. And we hope to connect to you guys and meet you guys in person always. Yeah. And I guess the last thing I would end with is if you guys like this podcast, leave some comments, share it with people, leave some reviews on whatever podcast platform you listen to. When you guys do stuff like that, it makes it so much easier for people for us to show up organically on search engines and things like that. So the more you guys can do that, the better. All right. Anything else you want to say? No?
Nah, dude. I love you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, everybody. Love you guys. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays. Do your thing. Have fun with your family. Say hello for us. Take some time off. Eat some good food. Get nice and chubby. It's all good. You can work it all off for the new year. And man, we're lucky. We're lucky. We love you, and just thanks.
Cool,
See you next year.
All right. Well, with that said, my name is Brent LaBrada, and that guy's Mariano Alvarez, and we'll see you in 2025. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Dog Trainers Podcast, a podcast created by dog trainers, for dog trainers, or anyone who's ever fallen in love with man's best friend.
We really hope that you enjoyed this episode and can't wait to be back with you guys. Be sure to follow us at Dog Trainers Podcast on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And don't forget to punch the hell out of that subscribe button and leave us a review.
Remember, guys, this is your podcast. You're the best listeners in the world, and we'll see you next time.